so welcome to our log pile. This is just one of the piles of many different types of logs we have. These are pine logs that we have on hand. We get them from South Dakota. And these are gonna match really well. As you can see, they're also just raw logs. So we got the gnarly shape and size. There's gonna be a taper, like this end's big, that end's small. But I still have to pick out specific logs that are gonna work the best for what I need. And then when it's all hand peeled, it's gonna match real well. We have several other styles of logs. These are gonna be the best match because of the character. That's what we're trying to look for, is the character. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna, well, let me show you here on camera real quick. What I did is I took the time to write on here. I had to go through the house, and each and every log that's rot, I had to write how long the log was, how tall the log was on each end. So like log number A that I got to replace is a 24-foot long log. The right side has to be 6 inches tall and the left side has to be 4 inches tall. And that's just, and you can see every single one of them is a different height because there's a taper. So I wrote down every single size. So now I got to go through every single piece and make sure I cut exactly what I need. So that makes it a little tougher than milled log homes. A regular milled log home where each log is the exact same shape, exact same size, those are actually a piece of cake to do rot repair because you just cut it out. Every piece is gonna fit the exact same way. But a handcrafted house like this, it adds a little bit of hardness to it, so a little more tough. So let's get it marked out here. Okay, so this is just a start of some of the replacement logs that we're using. What I'm doing here is I actually went through, measured all the pieces, exact width and length. The thing is, this house, it's all handcrafted, so each log's a different size as it moves through the wall. So like I have to cut this, like this one's like 7 to 6 inches. So they actually have a taper, but first step, get them cut. We're gonna get it peeled up, and each piece is gonna be labeled for each and exact spot of replacement. A lot of work ahead. So we started on getting some of the logs cut up for this repair. These are the two main logs on the house. As in that video, you've seen the horrible corners on those two sides. So what works out best, rather than replacing the logs where they stick out like that, we're cutting the whole thing out and doing this round log. And on this side and the bottom side, we cut it flat so we can notch it into the log wall. But then on this is actually the outside over here on this side of the round log, and we hand peeled it. So this is actually what it's gonna look like from this angle over here on the outside of the log. Hey, good day guys. So here we are again on the job site. After the last couple weeks, we were cutting up all the logs and beams that we needed, and got Travis here started on with the repairs. Now what we have going on here, you can actually see he's taking screws out. This house has had rot repair before, and it's already failed. The rot's decaying behind it. The logs are worse. So what Travis is doing is removing all the fake log siding they installed before. And you can see it, look, there's like giant voids of, that's not the right way to fix it. It's actually, the wood's still rotting underneath it. So what we're going to do now, after doing all the sandblasting, we're gonna strip the last little bit of log siding and get everything cut. Now the way we cut it is we're gonna make chainsaw curves. So you can kind of see here, we started a little bit we make little cuts. And then after making cuts, like how deep we went, I got this flat adze. And this is actually an old antique flat adze. Like I bought it on eBay. It's like over 100 years old. I refurbished it. So it has a flat blade. And the idea is after we make our cuts, we're gonna come back and we need a nice flat surface. So we're gonna come back and chip out all those chunks to make a perfect flat area. It's like these areas here where we sandblasted. We're gonna take the chainsaw, make a bunch of little curves, how deep we need to go. And same thing, then we'll come back. But we gotta make the curves first because just trying to chop it is a lot of extra work. So just quick cuts with the chainsaw is gonna save a lot of time. And a few of these areas, like where he's exposing it, I'm actually gonna bring the sandblaster back, clean that out, because you can see a big difference from where it's cleaned out good. And literally they just covered up rock and then it actually fixed it. So that was a total band-aid that was still causing problems. So a couple weeks ago, I chainsawed all these corners off because they're completely rotten. Originally, I was planning on replacing the corners individually so it looked like, you know, your saddle notch corner again. But since then, and I actually covered it up with plastic so in the meantime, they didn't get water in from the rainstorms. But the rot is actually going into the log wall on most of these. I mean, without spending lots of time and money, it's gonna be very expensive to replace the original saddle notch corners. So what I actually did is cut some big vertical logs I'll show you in a moment. And we're gonna chainsaw the whole entire corner out and replace it with a big vertical log beam. And the advantage to that is we're actually getting rid of the rotten wood completely. And this new log is gonna reduce future maintenance because you don't have it sticking straight out. It'll make more sense in a little bit later on when we get to this, but that's gonna be a big project. I'm gonna have to bring out the whole crew, like Josh and Tim, and these logs are heavy. But let's go take a look at the timbers I cut up for the repairs. Okay, so here's the boneyard of log siding and replacements. I actually went through and measured out the exact length and how tall, because each of these logs are different heights from end to end because there's a taper. So I had to cut each piece individually for each part, and we made them all full length. So the old repair, they just put butt joints with different chunks. We actually made sure it's all full length log pieces. So everything is gonna be a seamless. This is gonna be the two main corners. So you can see how I have a 90-degree angle cut. That's what's gonna fit. So like you would have to imagine looking at, this is gonna be the outside running vertical. So it still has a beautiful hand peel look. It's gonna look very natural with this house. It isn't gonna look out of place, which is great. Garage, we're doing the same thing. The corners are so rotten out. I got 4 more there, but yeah, all this log siding. Now I haven't peeled this stuff yet. I just didn't have time, but we'll get that peeled here. And then, yeah, that's what we're gonna work on for the next 2 weeks, getting it all fitted in. So stay tuned at this process because this is where the high-end skill work takes place.